Hi guys, today I'm going to be showing you how to root a synthetic wig. Alright, so today I want to come on here and I want to show you guys how I root my synthetic wigs. So rooting a synthetic wig is a really quick and easy way to instantly make a wig look more realistic. So the one I have on right now currently is from Chelsea Smith Cosmetics Catherine collection. When I got her in, she was just a solid copper color, and I just added a very subtle darker brown root to her, and as you can see, it just kind of gives it a little bit more dimension and just makes it look a little bit less wiggy and a little bit more realistic. So I'm gonna be doing the same thing with this wig right here. This is just a Amazon wig, nothing crazy, nothing special. So I'm gonna go ahead and be rooting her because she is a very solid blonde all the way to the lace, and it just makes her look really unrealistic. And if you guys have seen my videos, all of my blonde wigs or my lighter colored wigs, I usually buy them with some type of rooting or I root them myself. So this is something, when I put her on, I'm like, this is a way too weird for me. So I'm gonna go ahead and root her so I can show you guys really just how I do it. It's super easy. My favorite kind of thing to use, because it's the quickest and the easiest, is a root touch-up spray. Go to the hair color section of CVS, Walgreens, Target, Walmart, Sally's, wherever you usually buy your hair color from, and you'll see a bunch of these little cans, and you can pick the color you want. They also have fun colors too, so if you want to do something crazy and root your wig with pink or blue or anything like that, you can do that as well. I'm not that adventurous. So I'm gonna go ahead and just be using this dark brown root touch-up. I'm hoping this isn't gonna be too dark. I'm gonna be spraying it on really lightly, so it shouldn't be too bad. We're gonna find out real quick if it's too dark or not, but I think it's gonna be okay. I do like my roots on my blonde wigs a little bit on the darker side, but if you're looking for more of like a really lighter brown, I would go with the light brown or the medium brown. So we're gonna be using the Tresemme root touch-up in dark brown today to do this. This isn't permanent per se, but it's really kind of notice with the root spray, it stays on until I wash the wig. So I'm gonna take her, I've got her on my wig head here. I recommend doing it on a wig head just because it makes it a lot easier for you to see what you're doing. You can also put it on your head if you want, if that's easier for you as well. But it's a lot easier to do it on something like your head or a wig head, just because if you have it laying flat in your lap, it's gonna be a lot harder to tell where everything falls and where you really want that root to go. You're gonna hold it 6 to 8 inches from dry hair and spray gray or root areas. So 6 inches is probably about here, which actually is kind of far for me because I don't want it to distribute out that far. And I'm a little worried if I spray it this far out, it might get like brown over here on the wig itself where I don't want the rooting. So I'm gonna come in a little bit closer. I would say I'm about probably 4 inches, maybe 3 or 4 inches, right? Does that look like 4? I think that's about 4. And I'm just gonna start right here. This time I'm actually gonna move over to the side. And I'm just gonna go ahead and start right here. And I'm just gonna go in really light strokes. And I'm gonna start on the root and just kind of go up the line here. And now once I have that area, I'm just gonna kind of pull it a little bit further away, about to that 6 inch mark. That way it's hitting the wig a little bit lighter and not as heavy as it was in that center, because it'll be a little bit darker in the center, which is totally fine. We're cool with that. One thing I will recommend when you're rooting is you actually want this back crown area right here. You actually want that to have a little bit more of the rooting. Oh, my whole wig head's falling there, sorry. You want this area to have a little bit more of the rooting, where it kind of like, if this makes sense, it comes down and then it kind of widens out a little bit. You want it to come down a little bit further. We're just gonna take this, like I said, just kind of pull away a little bit further as you go down, because that just helps lighten it up a little bit. And you just don't want one area where it's like crazy concentrated. But you also don't want to spray it so far away that you're getting it on the rest of the wig area either. We want to really just kind of try to keep it to the area that we're trying to root. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Like, you don't want it to be like a perfectly straight line, because if you have it like that, it's going to make it look even more unrealistic, because usually when you do get your hair colored like this, or as your root growth grows out, it's not gonna grow out evenly, obviously. So, and then once you feel like you've got a decent coat of this here, we're just gonna let it dry for a second. And I'm gonna take this wig and I'm just gonna pull this front back so that I can just hit the hairline right here. So it doesn't look weird if I do like pull my hair back or brush my hair back, like there's no, obviously no rooting right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and just pull this back like this, and I'm just gonna hit, and here you just have to really get just like the end parts. We're not going back as far as we were with the top, but we're just gonna go ahead and just hit this line here. And like I said too, you're not really gonna per se see that when you have your wig just parted and laying down, but if you go like this, you want it to just look a little bit more seamless, like it's, you know, like the rooting is throughout the whole wig when it really in fact is just on the top. All right, so now we've got it pretty even. Like I said, you don't want it to be perfect. If it's too perfectly like horseshoed, it's gonna look really fake. But now that we have it nice and even, it's not completely dry, I usually take like a makeup brush, something that's a little bit more dense like this, and just take it like this. And I'm just gonna kind of blend it in a little bit and kind of lighten it up a tad and just get some of that excess product. That way, if I run my hand through this, it's not gonna get all over. It's also gonna help lighten it up a little bit so it's not really, really crazy dark. And it just kind of helps blend it through. You can also, if you want, take a like a fine tooth comb and kind of brush it through. Any of that is fine, whatever you prefer. And then the other thing too is you'll kind of see the places where maybe you have to go over it again because it wasn't dark enough, or you missed a spot. As you move in the wig around, you realize, oh wait, this actually lies like this, so you need to hit an area. So I always recommend doing this before it completely dries, because it just makes it a little bit easier for you to blend it. I'm never gonna use this makeup brush again for my face because it's gonna have this on it, or you can always clean it too, but it's potentially gonna leave some residue or some dye on the makeup brush. Just make sure it's not like one of your favorite brushes. This is also where you can go in if you want and do it one step further, and you can go ahead and start and take, you know, small sections, part it off like this, and continue to hit the roots. So if you want to, as you can see, this is not a, hang on. And this is what happens when you buy a $30 wig on Amazon. Then a lot of times what I'll do, I don't go through and do this on the whole head of the wig, but I will usually hit that second layer just in case the hair moves around, you don't see a big patch of blonde. And I'm literally just gonna go through and just kind of touch these roots here and kind of touch them down here on the bottom, and do the same thing. Go into that back crown area like we did in the front. And then as I pull it down, just blend that back into the other side. The other thing I will say too is I do like to kind of hit, if you notice that the tracks are blonde, like it is a very blonde, yellow kind of track, I'll hit that with this as well because it'll just help blend that in too. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and throw her on for you guys so you can really see the difference now that she's sprayed. And I also recommend throwing her on just to kind of see where it falls to make sure there aren't any places that we've missed, because obviously your head might be shaped a little bit differently than your wig head. So just kind of put her on, see where it's at. You can hit it again if you need to. Something else I would recommend is when you're doing this, if you don't want to make a mess on your hands, is wear some gloves, but you can also just wash them with some Dawn. It comes off really easily. It's not a huge deal. It's not gonna like dye your hands permanently because it's not a permanent fix. That also being said, when you go to wash this wig, this is all gonna come out. So you will have to re-root her when you wash her, but with synthetic wigs, you're not washing them a whole lot anyway. So you shouldn't have to be doing it all the time. All right, so this is her on. I went ahead and just took the Root Touch spray and just kind of hit a couple places I saw once I had her on my head. Like I said, you can root this as little or as much as you want. So if you wanted to, you could have just done like this area here. I brought it down to about here. You could always bring it down more if you want to. You can do all ombre craziness. You could put low lights technically in with root spray if you wanted to. Again, that would just require a little bit more skill, a little bit more finessing, a little bit more patience, which I don't necessarily know if I have or not, to do like highlighting or low lighting throughout the whole wig. But I definitely feel like doing the rooting is super quick, super fast. It makes a huge difference in the way that the wig looks. And it just kind of brings a whole new dimension to a wig that just looks really wiggy. So let me know in the comments below if there is a different method that you use to root your wigs at home. And if you liked this video, I'd really appreciate it if you'd give me a like on it. And if you're new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell so you get notifications on any videos I do in the future. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys on the next one.